And for our notes, we need the reading notes, right?
Which who sent that? Already sent. It just needs to be added
Okay.
to the same document.
I added the rest of the video notes.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Mine actually went until 105, but only 102 was on the note, so I saw that you finished it.
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, it's fine. Totally fine. And you say you're creating or like the shared note
Yeah, so is that I'm in that right now. Are you in that?
for the record sheet?
Wait, I'm sorry. Are we talking about the note document?
Yeah, the one for like, so we can see who's going to do what in the next module.
Oh, right. Yes, I would. Share that with you guys. I don't know if we want to just like split it up. However you guys want to do it, it's fine with me.
Like the next module.
Is that everything that's in that notes document? Is that all we needed for this week? We have the video. Chapter 1, how we got here. chapter 2, and chapter 3, and then
Now I think there's
the APA one.
a few documents.
Yeah, I think we don't have the APA document and the BCBA ethics code.
I can wait till everyone's here to see if anybody did it that just hasn't added it yet.
Yeah.
So I don't think everybody saw the Google Doc.
Okay. I think we're all here. I think there's only 4 of us.
I'm here too.
Yeah, I think it's the 4 of us. I don't think we're waiting for anyone. So there's a shared note document. We have the video notes and then the chapters 1 through 3 notes. We still need the APA ones and then the ethics code for behavior analysis. And then I made a Google Doc for next week for us to split up like the work. It looks like there's 2 chapters from the ethics book and then 1 chapter from how to be it or how to think like a behavior analyst and then a 45-minute video. And then there's like an also we have to find like the ethical and professional code from our field of study. So
I'm fine with splitting it up, however, it doesn't make a difference.
I don't have my book yet. I should have it on Monday, but I can do the video just so I can make sure that I'm
Okay,
contributing.
I do have a question, guys. So my other class is set up kind of just like this, but every week the notes are submitted as a group, and it looks like ours is like an individual assignment is separate from our live study group assignment. I emailed the professor and he didn't answer me back, but like, do you guys know if we're supposed to do the notes together every week, or should we each be submitting like our individual notes?
I'm pretty sure it's the same as 601, which is a combined.
Yeah, that's my other class also,
Yeah,
601.
that's how I
Okay,
like
because I
to
really like
roll.
this method. Like if we just split the load every week, it's way easier for all of us.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. That's what I submitted for 601. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping, and if not, I guess I'll bounce back next week.
All right, if he answers me back, between now and midnight, I'll let you guys know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I was gonna try to read through it because I think I had the same question. I think I read it
I could have sworn I did read it too, that
in
it
the
was
module.
combined.
That it was a group assignment.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
pretty
cool.
sure it is.
So
Yes,
also,
it's in there as a group assignment. So it says uh submit these notes as a collaborative assignment, one per group. And if you go to live study group and practice one on the modules, it'll explain it in there. So we are supposed to submit it together.
okay,
And then we have
sounds
to
good.
submit that group form with our video attached, but I can just upload that.
Yeah, in my last class, I don't know how we all want to do it. Like, we had one person responsible for submissions.
Mhm.
Um, so depending on how you guys want to do it, like once everybody submits, one person submits both documents.
Okay.
That's fine.
That's-
I do also have this table from my 601 class, just like breaking down the readings. If you want, I can change the readings to our 602 ones and put it on our Google Drive. And then, instead of trying to bother everyone week by week, we can kind of go in there and just type our name on what we want to take notes on.
Okay,
All right, I'll do that after.
that works. Does anyone have those notes that we still need for this week?
I will do the hold on, which one is it? I'm gonna say the wrong thing. The BACB ethics code.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have the APA one. I didn't get to that, but I'll split that with someone. There's like 10 different sections if anyone wants to split that with me.
Which one is it? Because I
Um,
started on the code of code of
Yeah,
conduct
that
or
one.
ethical principles. Okay, I started on that one, so I can split it with you.
Okay. If you just want to fill in what you have, I can.
Yeah,
if
I'll
you
have to
did the
type it up.
first half-
I wrote this one out,
Okay.
but I'll
If you
type
did
it
the
up.
first half, I can do the second half.
Okay.
So if we want to split it at like, if you want to do sections 1 through 5, I can do 6 through 10.
Okay.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. And yeah, for next week, if anyone hasn't like, you said you wanted to do the video. So I don't know how we would break down the other 3 readings. If anyone has any ideas.
I have all the textbooks. I did the ethics reading this week, so if you want, I can stick to that one for next week, and that can just be my assignment going forward, or we can rotate the books week by week. But I don't mind. I have all the texts for anyone who, would rather do the videos.
Yeah. I'm also good with the text. That works. I can do this one. And then if we just want to keep like a shared doc to just like kind of add it before we meet. And then if Sunday's at 4:30, if that's best for everyone, that's cool. But we can also like pick a different time during the week. I know I met with my other class today, but we decided that we're gonna do Thursday nights going forward.
I weekends are more available for me, but definitely the earlier we can get on, the better. Because I feel like it's gonna be going smooth for a couple weeks, and then all of a sudden, we still have lives, we have things to do.
Yeah.
So 4:30 on a Sunday is not the worst, but it's definitely not the best. It's up to you guys if you wanted to like push it to an earlier time on Sundays.
Um, I'm fine with Sundays, but I go to church and
Mhm.
we're very active in our church, so we don't really get home to around 2.
Okay, I'll write that down too. Will be the earliest. Also, we can always set the day and just be in contact with each other, like what time works best for you this Sunday. It doesn't have to be, the same exact time every Sunday, but 2 would be the earliest regardless.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't have a preference. Weekends are better for me, so anytime. But I know like my other classes discussing the fact like our work is going to be due every day on a Sunday, so we don't want to run into the point of we went all week with no contact, and it's like who did this, who did that. But I think that Word document is going to help us
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
that
me too.
instance.
Yeah.
But still, just if we have like questions or things like that, we're waiting until the day of, until our assignment is due to kind of discuss those things. I personally don't have a problem with it, but if, that might be an issue for someone else, that's just something to consider.
I don't mind it being same day as long as, the earlier it is, the more time we have on Sunday before midnight if we do need to make any changes or add anything. For sure. I don't want people to be scrambling, at like 7 o'clock at night on a Sunday to get things
Right.
done.
Same.
Yeah, that's true.
My other study group for 601 is on Saturdays already, so that's kind of tough to do it on a Saturday for me to double
Yeah,
up
mine
with
is on
that.
Saturday too.
Yeah, I don't think I could do Saturday.
Okay.
I just I don't know if I'm ever really home on a Saturday, so I don't want to like leave you guys hanging if I
Mhm.
have to go somewhere.
And that's how I am Monday through Friday because I work at a clinic and my
Yeah.
hours are 10:30 to 6:30. So by the time I
Right.
get home and I got 3 kids, I'm never gonna lie to you, I'll probably never be online.
Yeah.
That's
And I
fine.
work 8
Honestly,
to 9
yes.
during the week, so I can't do the weekday.
Right. I work public school during the day, and then I do in-homes in the evenings. The only time during the week that would be feasible is like a Friday night, and who wants to come on here on a
Right.
Friday
So
night?
Sunday's our day.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm good with
cool.
Sundays.
And too, like you said on Sundays, there are Sundays that we are not available for church and I can always like text you guys like, hey, I'm available all day today. So
That's perfect.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
think if we could just like keep in contact if there's like a week where we can meet at a different time,
Yeah.
and then just like communicate what time works best for everyone that week. I think that'd be fine.
Okay.
I did give my number through email if everyone has it. I know my last class we definitely texted more than we emailed. It was more
Yeah.
convenient. So I don't mind you guys texting me.
Okay. Did you
That
guys
is
already
perfect.
do introductions? I know I like came on a little late.
No, we just set up the Google Doc.
Okay, cool. So we have to do our little intros and then discuss weekly readings and the ethics newsletters, right?
Yes.
Okay. Whoever wants to start. I don't like going first or last.
I'll go. My name's not Beth Ann. I'm on my mom's Zoom account. I'm Delaney. I work as an RBT in a clinic in Jersey. Um, yeah, I was going to grad school for something completely different, and then I started working there and fell in love with it and realized that I would much rather be doing this. My clinic is really cool. I have like a fellowship set up for me, like through the company. So that's like super helpful. A lot of the BCBAs that I work under had to do like the modules too for their courses. So it's like nice to be able to like talk to them about it. But yeah, that's me.
All right. Well, I'm Christina. Mine also has the wrong name. But this is my first semester starting my ABA program. I did start at St. Joe's in about like 2019. I started a master's program in criminal justice with a concentration in ABA, and I realized I really wanted to solely focus on behavior analysis. I just figured that that was, the right thing to do because I had earned my bachelor's in criminal justice. So working in ABA just kind of fell into my lap about 10 years ago. And it took me a really long time to decide that I wanted to, actually take that step and go for my BCBA. I started out as an instructional assistant, and I've been in RBT now for about 7 years. I've worked in clinical, alternative schools, public schools, in homes. So I do have a lot of hands-on experience. I'm just looking to earn my credential at this point.
And my name is my name is Kimani. I also go by Key, so whichever one you prefer is totally fine with me. I just recently got my master's in rehabilitation counseling, but I've also worked as RBT for 3 years now. And honestly, when it came down to like starting sitting as a candidate and like leaving the clinic, I was just like, no. I was super, super sad. So I decided to not sit for candidacy and pursue the BCBA because I just didn't want to leave my job, honestly. I love it. And I put it off, like continue working and like interning, going towards LPC together, but it was just like I'd rather go to my 9 to 5, and then my 5 to 9 was stressful. So I decided to go the BCBA route. Um, I work at a clinic I absolutely love. I'm more of an intern now, so I'm working directly under the BCBA, doing all of the paperwork and things. I hardly do direct, but I do work in school, um, in schools and in home on occasion. Which is fun. I love working in schools with this job. My previous one, I did not, but I love working in schools with this company for sure. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, but I live in Oklahoma right now. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Hi. Um, I've been in ABA for 14 years, and RBT for 5. Before that, I was just like an instructional aide for an ABA classroom for a few years. I was in the public school system for 9 of those years, working preschool all the way to 8th grade. So I've been all over the place in the public school setting. I got tired of it a couple of weeks ago. I'm 4 months pregnant, and it became too overwhelming for me with the students that I had. They were highly aggressive. Um, and it was 6th through 8th, so they were like bigger than I was. Um, and I was just also in a stressed out environment, and it just wasn't good for me anymore. And I already knew it. So the pregnancy just like brought it to like, yeah, this is not for me. And then my last class that I was in, a lot of the students were in clinics. And I was like, I wonder if I could like find a clinic here in Connecticut. And it fell in my lap a few weeks ago, and it is the best job ever. I wish I found clinics way before I hit the public school setting. Um, yeah, I'm in love with my job, like literally. And so yeah, so I decided to pursue my master's. I have my bachelor's in psychology. So I decided to pursue my master's to get my BCBA and stay with my company.
Awesome. Your story's kind of similar to mine. I had so many years of experience in so many different settings, but I was stuck in an alternative school setting for a while, and then I went to public school. And it's tough, sometimes it can be fun, but it's tough because you are so ingrained in ABA. This is what you do, this is what you're here for. And in the public school setting, it's probably ABA is probably, last
Yep,
on their list of priorities. They make accommodations for kids with special needs because they have to. But
absolutely.
not, so sometimes you can't apply the principles and procedures the way that you want to. And I was kind of struggling with that too, which kind of led me to fall back on pursuing things further because I had no one willing to supervise me. That whole attitude, if they don't really care about what's going on, why should I be working this hard? And I
Mm,
had just recently ended up switching contracts, so I went from one public school district to another. I'm in Connecticut also, so I worked in East Haven, New Haven,
okay.
Norwalk, Meriden, and now I'm in Woolkit. And I love it. It's amazing. The the self-contained program that they have is really ABA focused. the BCBA is present, active, and she was the one that actually kind of pushed me and said, listen, if you're about to do this, I will supervise you right now, right away. Let's go. And so that's kind of how I ended up starting. So I don't want to stay in public school forever just because it doesn't align with all of my values in terms of my career. But I got lucky. I got really lucky that I'm in a place that's supportive. And so I'm gonna finish out there for sure.
Yeah, that's where I
Um,
was at Norwalk School District.
oh, cool. Okay. I worked in Norwalk for a long time, in like a dual program. The kid was in an alternative school, and the mom proposed that we do 3 days in home and 2 days in the school.
Okay.
So it was a very interesting experience for sure, not your usual. And I did a bunch of in-home work, throughout the years, and that's peaks and valleys with that because, every family is different.
Mm.
Delaney, where are you from? I miss where you're from.
Jersey, so South
Jersey.
Jersey. I only live like a half an hour
Okay,
away
cool.
from St. Joe's.
Do you ever go on campus or no?
No.
Okay, cool. All right. We did intro, we did scheduling. Do you guys kind of want to go through the weekly assignments first? I don't know if you want to do it based on what we already have notes on. We can just talk
Fine.
really quick. All right, so I did the text reading, the Ethics by Bailey, chapters 1 through 3. And sorry. The first 3 chapters. So the first 3 chapters were really like an introduction to ethics in our field and how they came to be, why they are purposeful, why they are needed. And hold on, I'm so sorry. Someone else can go first if you want.
Okay, I'll go. I did a video, and that was pretty cool. But I noticed that there's been an update since this video too. So like since the 2016. So the video basically went over the guidelines for conduct, or the ethical codes, and it talks about how it was updated. So really just went over the changes that went into effect in 2016. So the biggest changes that they noted were how before 2016, a lot of ABA agencies, clinics, were using like testimonies from clients, current clients, past clients, just like explaining their experience, working in an ABA clinic, etc., and how that is no longer allowed, just because of how it could coerce people into feeling a certain type of way or having to testify on behalf of the clinic that they're receiving services with. But in 2016, it was okay to do it with past clients. With this update in 2016, it's okay to do it with past clients, but current clients, it was not allowed. I also talked about supervision documentation and how that was changing. So how previously supervisees were in charge of doing all their supervision hours, keeping track of it. But now in the 2016 update, supervisees and supervisors have to keep track of hours accumulated for like auditing purposes. It talked about the whole thing about gifts. Like at first, you know how APA kind of went $20 and under was acceptable. With ABA, no gifts are acceptable at all. But they did kind of mention some kind of like smaller things that were not considered as far as like people giving to charity. Like if they were to say, don't give me this money, but donate it on behalf of charity or something like that. Apparently that was allowed. And then it went into area 1. There's like 10 areas that are discussed in the code of conduct. And the first part that I went over was responsible conduct. Area 1 is 7 portions of it, and I'll go over it real quick. So the first one was over reliance on scientific knowledge, which just means everything that we say, everything that we are implementing needs to be backed up by science. It can't just be like, based on our feelings, etc. And the way to kind of make sure we're doing that is to self-monitor and document like all the things that we're doing. The next one was about boundaries and competence. So that was really just like staying in your area of expertise. So not doing things that you're not trained on, um, and like referring people out or learning and obtaining the skills you need to train a certain person in this area. The next one was on maintaining competence through professional development. And that is just behavior analysis is evolving all the time. So everything is changing. So just keeping up with the new changes and like the evolution of things, maintaining um, or yeah, maintaining with the current changes that are happening. The next one was on integrity, and that's just keeping your commitments, following legal rules, being truthful and honest. The next was on, this is the fifth one, and this is where I stopped in my notes. So if you want to take over, Delaney, you can. The fifth one was on professional and scientific relationships. So that went over like dual relationships, not discriminating against consumers, not harassing folks, and then also knowing like your own biases and your physical and mental limitations um, as behavior analysis. But that was the first 45 minutes, and then Delaney did the second half.
Yeah, so the second half, the rest of section one, there was only two more, and it was just making sure that you are not in multiple relationships or engaging in conflicts of interest. And yeah. And then the last one was avoiding exploitative relationships. And you're not allowed to barter for services. And then the section two was like all about responsibilities to clients. So you're only allowed to accept clients that you are confident you're capable of providing those services, and like they all no, lost my words. They all deserve like adequate services, so you can't take a client that you cannot give the best services to. Um, and then it was talking about how to do it if their SLP has to come in or if their OT has to come in, and making sure that you're maintaining confidentiality through working with them, as well as making sure that the responsible parties are doing what they're responsible for, and you're not overstepping like into the SLP's role, and they're not overstepping into the BCBA role. And then the rest of section two was, or the middle of it was, making sure that you're documenting everything appropriately. You have to keep records for at least 7 years, I'm pretty sure. And then when you do go to dispose of them, you have to dispose of them in accordance with the local laws. You have to have a signed contract before you begin services. Everyone has to agree on the billing situation, and you need to have a plan for if something interrupts the financial limitations. And then you are never to abandon any client, and you always have to act in the best interest of the client. And that was the rest of section two. And then I just started looking over the APA stuff, like the second half of it. And so I'll talk about section six. Section six is about like documentation and like keeping records. So a little bit of what section two was talking about in the first in the video. You can't withhold records just because they haven't paid you. This one says that bartering is allowed if it's not exploitative, which I thought that was interesting because in the video it's very clear that bartering is not allowed. So
Is the year different on this? Because that's what I was noting earlier. Like I think
this one's older. So that is interesting. The APA one is older. And then the farthest I got in section six was to the referrals and fees. And everyone that's getting paid is getting paid for their services, not the referrals. That's what I
and
got.
then I did the first half of that already, so I can go over that one. And it's really kind of set up the same, and that's what they were saying in the video too. Like they adapted a lot of the ABA code of conduct from the site where the APA went. So this one literally talks about the same thing that we talked about: beneficence and maleficence. This always chokes me up. Do no harm, and be aware of your own mental health. Same thing we're talking about. Fidelity and responsibility. So establishing those relationships out of trust. In your scientific responsibility, knowing your roles and obligations. The next principle, and these are all principles, so A, B, C, D, sorry. This one is C, integrity. So promote accuracy, honesty, truthfulness, not stealing, cheating, or engaging in fraud. And principle D was justice, being aware of your biases, fairness, and having those boundaries. E was of respect for rights and dignity. So informing clients about confidentiality, promoting self-determination, respecting culture, gender, age, social economic status, etc. And then section 1 started with resolving ethical issues. So it starts going into like misuses of psych and how to resolve conflicts with law, regulations, legal authority. And the next section I stopped on was 2, which goes over competence, which I'll finish in the notes.
I can go next if you want. It's quiet now. Sorry about that. Like I was saying earlier, I did the Bailey Ethics for Behavior Analyst assignment, chapters 1 to 3. So chapter 1 was basically an introduction to, ethics regarding our fields, how they came to be, why they were needed. It all kind of started in the 1960s when behavior mod had increased in popularity, especially in residential establishments for people with, developmental disabilities, behavioral issues. There were false promises made about drastic behavior changes, quick and easy fixes to very maladaptive behaviors, but they were using extreme procedures to try to achieve those outcomes. Some examples of that would be like withholding their basic needs, forced public acts meant to humiliate them, or like excessive and inappropriate use of physical restraints. This was mainly taking place in residential facilities, and one example of that was the Sunland Center. An investigation on abuse kind of revealed that this was going on widespread throughout residential facilities in Florida. There was a history of high staff turnover and poor training, just lack of experience and understaffing, which I'm sure still goes on today. We know that that can cause some disconnects in procedural integrity throughout. With that, there was a development by Jack McAllister called the Resident Abuse Investigating Committee, where people actually began to investigate allegations of malpractice and abuse, and kind of finally starting to see some care about what was going on into these residential facilities. The establisher of treatment plans for Sunland Center was Dr. E, but it was discovered that he was not as qualified as he had presented. And back then, the qualifications to become a behavior mod staff were very minimal. You may have had to attend a workshop for a couple of hours and get a little certificate. It's definitely not as rigorous as what's expected now for, RBTs, BCABAs, BCBAs. That since the guidelines for the staff were so loose and vague, and what was a limitation, what was not, there were a lot of issues because the 3 principles that were practiced were emphasize natural consequences. If you don't have clear instructions, implement your own response to behaviors and follow through on every contingency. So don't make any threats. There could be one person who kind of uses the least interfering method possible in order to follow those principles, and one person who takes it to a level 10. So there was a huge disconnect across staff within the residential centers, yielding different results, leading to abuse in most cases. Actual print publications about behavior analysis started in the late 60s, so there was very little information on ethics and what's expected of a practitioner in the first place. The Association for Retarded Children, the ARC of Florida, were actually the first to emphasize the importance of humane treatment and data-based treatment, also emphasizing the importance of actually supervising the staff. So the peer review committee for the ARC actually established procedural guidelines which required higher up professionals to come and follow through, visit facilities, see what's really going on, and ensure that staff are operating on the same level of integrity. Chapter 1 also goes over FABA, the Florida Association for Behavior Analysis, which was the first major ABA conference ever held in Florida, and B.F. Skinner was the keynote speaker of that. So the reputation of behavior mod initially was not a good one, and it wasn't until the 70s and 80s that it actually was important to kind of repair the reputation of behavior analysis. Chapter 2, I'm not gonna read word for word because chapter 2 specified solely the changes to the new ethics code for the BACB, which we're probably going to talk about throughout the hour. We already have. There is a list in my notes of all of the updated and added codes. The main trends that I noticed in all of the changes for the ethics code pretty much were on updating in favor of all of our technological advances that have occurred throughout the years and exposure on the internet, social media, advertising, etc. A lot of the updates emphasize the importance of cultural and diversity acceptance, as well as dual relationships, gift giving, and things of the sort. There was a summary on Code 1.14, which outlines romantic and sexual relationships, which, you know, we know is a no-no. However, Bailey discussed that people may see that code as unclear because although it specifies romantic and sexual relationships, there's no specifications about maintaining a friendship or a social relationship with a former client. And chapter 3 just discuss everyday ethical challenges that we might see as practitioners in the field. It briefly touched on the history of ethics, how ethics are learned from an early age. You learn moral principles from your family, your community, your culture, your religion, society, what have you, and they're shaped by your experiences. For example, if you cheat on a test in school and you don't get caught, your moral compass may tell you that it's not wrong to cheat, lie, or steal, you know, as long as you don't get caught. Personal ethics then kind of are molded into your moral principles, and they can be very hard to change. It also goes into piggybacking off chapter 2, it goes into some of the codes. Favors, we're not allowed to accept favors. However, the longer and more comfortable you are with your client, the more a relationship develops, the likelihood increases that your client, a family member, a fellow practitioner, what have you, they may ask you for a favor, which we know is unethical. As a whole, as a society, we are pretty desensitized to gossip. However, one of our codes is, you know, we cannot discuss clients, reveal confidential information, what have you. You may be led into a situation where someone might ask you a question harmlessly, but your answer would disclose confidential information that you're not allowed to. Code 101 of our ethics code is always be truthful, and white lies seem to be an ongoing problem throughout the field and in practice. It also touches on gift exchange in chapter 3, which we probably all know based on being RBTs and our work experience, that there is now a $10 limit on gifts, and it has to be on a very infrequent basis. Bailey basically states, although there is a very small limit, this can still create a gray area between the practitioner and the client. Sometimes, you know, gift giving may result in someone expecting a favor in return or something in return, or can affect your job performance because you may feel like you can work harder because you're expecting extra gifts outside of what you're compensated for as a practitioner. Another piece of it was offering advice. Advice can be biased across the board based on your personal experiences, your biases, or your personal relationships. You should not offer advice to anyone who is not your client, that you do not have a contract with. And also the last piece of chapter 3 touched on responsibility as practitioners and as clients. So we both share a responsibility, all parties involved, including ourselves, to make sure that we are following through with service agreements and treatment expectations and procedures. He did mention, and I think we can probably all relate to this since we've worked in homes, that can be difficult, especially in-home cases. One of the examples that was provided in the book was that you're doing an in-home session and the mother asks, hey, can we do this session in the car? I have to take, little Johnny to sports practice. And although you know that driving in the car, conducting your session is not the best environment in order for him to learn and succeed, you're going to do it in the car anyway because you have a comfortable relationship with the mom. That would be going against procedures and expectations for treatment. And it can kind of lead to a slippery slope because if you do it once, they may expect you to do it again and again and again. And that then turns into you not providing the best quality service to your client. And that is it for the ethics text, chapters 1 through 3.
And I haven't even read the Code of Ethics yet for the BACB. I'm going over it now since we've been talking.
A lot of it, of course, it's really important to read it, but a lot of it is something that you might already be familiar with if you are in RBT, because there are a lot of similarities in the RBT Code of Ethics. I think for me, one of the biggest struggles was the gift piece because you don't want to offend a parent, a client, a teacher who may offer you a gift. And you also don't want to explicitly express that you can't accept a gift because it exceeds the monetary value requirement. I've been in a couple of situations where it's been awkward because I've had to be like, haha, thanks, but I can't. I don't know about you guys.
In the school system, it was so different because, holidays and especially Christmas, it was like a thing that like every classroom did where we bought gifts for the students. Parents came in with gifts, but of course the gifts had to say it was from the students, not from the parents. In the clinic, it's totally different. Like it's just none. There's no gift giving whatsoever. So that is different for me. Um, so that's my experience. Because I'm used to like always buying like little knickknacks or, buying gift cards, and I can't do none of that anymore.
Right. I have tried to just keep, because I'm contracted through a private agency, but I'm contracted to a public school district. So we don't have any of those issues within the agency, but like you said, within the public school setting, it's tough. And if you work in special education, it's likely that you work on a team, in a self-contained classroom, maybe you have a couple other paras or RBTs, and you guys kind of want to treat each other because as a team, you
Right.
all work hard. So that was a difficult conversation to have, to say, hey, I'm not trying to be cheap, but
Yeah.
based on my code of ethics, I can only spend this much and I can't take anything that exceeds, this value. So in all these years, I tend to stick to little handmade things, stuff like
Okay.
that. It's hard, but because you don't want to, appear ungrateful. You don't want to be the only one that gives a gift, but yeah, you got to keep it small for sure.
Yeah.
Did we go over all of the bullet points that we had to?
If you're talking to us, you're on mute. I was like, I don't know.
I'm sorry, I'm on another tab pulling stuff up. So we went over the ethics code. Are you guys RBTs? Are all of us RBTs?
I am, yeah.
We can go over the RBT ethics code briefly. Let's see here.
I think we should do that, but also fill out the discussion sheet.
Okay, what
So
do you want to do first? Because I have both open.
I have been filling it out as we've been sitting here, so I can share my screen and we can like,
So are you gonna do the submission for this week, Delaney?
I can if that's
Okay, cool. If you want, we can rotate too.
okay. Yeah, that would work. I know we still have more to add in the document, so would everyone be okay with like, I'm not going.
Is that for the you're talking about for the live discussion?
Yeah,
So
so I have that in the
how
shared
we-
document.
how we did it in my last class is everybody got on there the day of the live and we put like our own little portion. So it said like Kianda, Christopher, and like answered every one ourselves. And then
Okay.
the last person submitted it.
Okay.
So what we did is we shared our screen,
Oh, and typed
and
it in?
as we spoke about, as we answered the questions, I guess the admin of the document, I guess, would type.
Also, did you guys do
It's
it
up
as,
to you.
you didn't do it individually, you did it as a group?
Yes,
also
For the
did as a
question?
group.
yes. So
But
we just knocked it out really quick while we were still on the Zoom.
it is
if that works.
shared, so if you guys wanted to jump on and
Yeah, let me go to it.
um because I believe I shared it with all of you. And then I can submit it for the week if we're all okay with like saying to have it done by like 10:30. I can submit everything at 10:30 just so everyone has time to go eat dinner and then also finish up what we have left if that works for everyone.
It's in, hold on, I gotta find it. Okay, I got it. It's so weird when everyone's in there.
Oh, I know. Sometimes, because I have an old computer right now and I'm waiting on a new laptop. So sometimes it's easier for me to work inside of Word and then just like go and paste the whole thing.
Yeah, I do the
Because
same
if
thing.
everyone's in the shared doc and like the cursors are moving and stuff, it slows me down. So if formatting is an issue because I do that, just let me know and I'll like fix it up, make it look nice before we submit.
I'll just head over after. I'll just head over after. If you're going right now.
I'm getting the present.
What are you guys thinking about for topic or question that was difficult for today's conversation? That's the only one I kind of feel like, I feel like we kind of share the same experiences.
Conversation.
I don't think there was anything that was difficult, really.
I can type in like gift exchange because that was the one thing that we have on this recording where it sounds like we've all kind of experienced a conflict with that.
Sounds good.
Is this one ours? Yes, this one's ours.
I think I started recording at like 4:17, so we have a couple more minutes. There wasn't a BDS module due for this class this week, right?
No,
I
not
think
this
the
one.
first one's the 29th.
Okay, that's what I thought.
It's number 2.
Those are a pain.
I'm gonna put myself on mute between my dogs and my kids. Sorry.
Honestly, that's a good idea because mine can start any second. I'm just gonna finish typing up that question. I'm filling out a little bit of that top half too, Delaney, like where it says, why was it great? Why was it poor? I got that one.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I think if we all are just okay with me submitting everything at 10:30, then we can, I think we have like 2 more minutes until we're at an hour. But that works for me. I can submit the stuff this week and then we can figure out for next week. You said you had a document to make sure we all have the stuff for next week.
Yes, I can get that up to our drive by like tomorrow.
That's fine.
And then we can just go in and type our names next to, whatever we want to read and take notes on.
Okay.
And since you'll have the link to the recorded Zoom, you can just like paste it at the bottom of this form.
Yeah. My computer is a little weird, so I might have to like upload it to like YouTube and make it private and then submit the link, but I did that for my last class, so it's fine.
If you have issues, going forward, we can just like do Google Meet since we're all already part of a group.
Yeah, that might be easier. Zoom is just so complicated.
Everything's like, I know it's a little slow too. Everything will just be all in one place going forward.
Yeah, that is fine with me. All right, I think if we're all good, then I think we got everything for tonight, and I'll just submit everything at 10:30.
Okay. And I'll post
Okay,
my-
perfect. Thank you.
Right.